Ever felt like cooking is just too much hassle? Meet Ada. Growing up, her busy parents meant every meal was bought from outside. Home-cooked food, that was a foreign concept. Ada grew up preferring street food and fancy restaurants. It was her normal. Her comfort zone. Even after graduating and moving for a new job, her habits didn't change. She shared an apartment with her friend Chisholm, who was the complete opposite. Chisholm loved cooking, always telling Ada, "It's cheaper and safer to cook yourself. Why waste money eating out?" But Ada wouldn't listen. To her, exploring new restaurants was an adventure. One day, a handsome, wealthy businessman named Emeka swept Ada off her feet. He was charming, and they hit it off instantly, dining at the most expensive restaurants. Everything seemed perfect until he visited her at home. Emeka, feeling hungry, asked Ada to cook for him. He even offered to go to the market with her, but Ada had to confess the embarrassing truth: she didn't know how to cook. Emeka was shocked. A woman so beautiful and classy, and able to make a simple meal. Disappointed, he left abruptly, leaving Ada heartbroken. She was too ashamed to even tell Chisholm the real reason she was so sad. Not long after, Ada discovered a new, fancy-looking restaurant. It was beautiful, classy, and surprisingly affordable. She quickly became a regular. The waiters knew her order by heart, and she even had food delivered to her office. It was convenient and delicious. But then, something strange happened. One day, as she was finishing her lunch at work, she found a dead cockroach in her food. Shocked, she threw the rest away but brushed it off as a one-time mistake. A week later, Ada fell violently ill. She had a terrible stomach bug and a high fever that landed her in the hospital. The doctor's diagnosis was chilling. He found a strange bacteria that only breeds in extremely dirty environments. He warned her, "Always make sure your cooking environment is clean. You're lucky you came in on time." This could have been fatal. After recovering, with Chisholm's help, you'd think Ada would learn her lesson. But unbelievably, she went right back to her old habits, even returning to the same restaurant, predictably. It wasn't long before she was back in the hospital, and then a third time. Finally, Ada knew something was seriously wrong. The restaurant looked so clean from the outside, but she had to know the truth. So, she devised a plan. One afternoon, she went to the restaurant, ordered her usual meal, and ate slowly, inspecting every bite. When she finished, she pretended to need the restroom. The restroom was occupied, which gave her the perfect excuse to look around. She noticed a swinging door at the end of the hall. Peeking through, she was met with a sight that made her stomach churn. The kitchen was a disaster. Dirty dishes were piled high. Raw meat sat out attracting flies, and the floor was disgustingly filthy. With rats scurrying around freely, the cooks themselves looked unclean, their aprons stained, and their hair a mess. Then she saw the head cook, a large woman, scratch her armpit with the same spoon she was using to stir a large pot of soup. Ada felt a wave of nausea. She stumbled back to her table, trying to act normal, but the image was burned into her mind. Driving home, she realized this could be the reality for so many of the places she'd eaten. The clean and trustworthy restaurants might all be hiding a dirty secret. The thought of all the meals she'd eaten without a second thought was terrifying. That day, everything changed. Ashamed and determined, Ada decided she would learn to cook. She cleaned her kitchen, watched cooking tutorials online, and went to the market for utensils and fresh ingredients. When Chisholm came home and saw Ada in the kitchen, she was shocked but overjoyed. They cooked together, and though the meal wasn't fancy, it was delicious and, most importantly, clean. Ada embraced her new lifestyle. She started bringing homemade lunches to work, and her health improved dramatically. Eventually, Emeka returned. He apologized for how he had acted, realizing he should have supported her instead of walking away. They reconciled and, a few months later, got married. This story is a powerful reminder that things aren't always as they appear. It's so important to know where your food comes from. And for parents, no matter how busy you are, making time for your children and teaching them basic life skills is one of the greatest gifts you can give. Finally, when you love someone, you help them grow. You don't walk away at the first sign of a flaw. You work together to build a better future. Thanks for watching.